Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Companies to watch.
Good morning. Welcome to Companies to Watch. And we've got a very interesting one today. It's in the tech sector. But before we get into that, let's welcome Dan Koh. Good morning.
Good Friday morning, Ryan. What's in it for you for the rest of today?
Yeah, just a nice, easy Friday before we get into the weekend. How's yours looking like?
It's good. I'm looking forward to steak day, Ryan.
Steak day. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know you like your meat, so what have you got on the table today?
All right, welcome to Companies to Watch. That's a segment where we spotlight and stock you up with ideas of listed companies that will call for your attention. So we're looking at market trends and risks that might be overlooked, as well as hidden gems or warning signs to steer clear of. So 8855-0893, tell us whether you think it's going to be a hot or not. Ryan, you ready?
Let's go.
Now we're turning to a company that designs, manufactures and sells computer components like CPUs and other related products. It is one of the world's biggest chip makers by revenue, with more than $50 billion in annual sales. But some may say that its glory days are over. Now, a couple of years ago, running Intel would have once been the most prestigious position in the industry. In its heyday, Intel's profitability was unusually high for a manufacturing company. Its gross margin, the percentage sales remaining after deducting the cost of production, was north of 60%. But today, the benchmark is currently languishing at about half that level. So we're turning into this company, and it's making news because shares of Intel had jumped by about 10% in pre-trading yesterday after it named Lip-Bu Tan as its next CEO, entrusting a former board member and semiconductor veteran with one of the toughest jobs in the chip industry. Now, Lip-Bu Tan, does it ring any bell to you, Ryan?
Yeah, he is someone who was actually growing up in Singapore, born in Malaysia, and has made a name for himself in the tech industry. So I think Intel investors are liking the news because he has a lot of experience. He's got a steady hand to navigate all the current challenges. And it's a tall task.
Yeah, it is a huge task, but it seems like analysts are certainly quite encouraged by the news with, the Bank of America upgrading the shares to neutral after the announcement, citing Tan's solid track record. Now, Tan, 65, will assume the role on March 18th. That's happening next week. And as the former head of Cadence Design Systems, he is tasked with restoring the fortunes of a pioneering chip maker that has since became an industry laggard. So it has also been recently burdened with debt and had to slash about 15,000 jobs. So the stock has declined more than 50% in the past 12 months as the company's future became increasingly murky, and that's left its market value at $89.5 billion.
Yeah, so, Dan, I don't think we're old enough to remember the days when PCs everywhere would have this Intel Inside sticker.
So it was in the computer?
On the computer
desktop
casing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably not. So that was really a reflection of how dominant they were in the market. You would have Intel Inside stickers to just declare proudly that you've got an Intel chip. But nowadays, I don't think that's a big thing.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing now would be seeing an NVIDIA chip in the computers. I don't think I remember seeing an Intel chip, but yeah. Well, that's something that I would be searching up in a bit, Ryan, to see how old I am.
Yeah, this is in the days of the 386s and the 486s, so definitely way before you. Moving on to more current things.
A blast to the past. Okay, now, one of the most glaring challenges, as we mentioned earlier, would be to create an artificial intelligence accelerator chip that can rival the likes of NVIDIA. And that is something that Tan's predecessor, Pat Gelsinger, was pushed out of the board for perceived failure to rejuvenate Intel's product lineup. When he joined back in 2021, he was seen as the potential savior of the company, but that disappointed many quarterly results, including the August 2024 report that analysts describe as the worst in its history. So right now, we're seeing, the likes of other rivals like NVIDIA, Advanced Micro Devices, that have won market share in PCs and servers, and it's poised to do a lot better than Intel to make inroads in AI chips. In fact, Intel isn't in the top 10 chip industry companies worldwide by market value. So Tan did signal in his recent memo to employees that he would continue down the path of turning Intel into a chip foundry. But let's walk through who Tan is and what his background is to have given, market analysts and as well as investors the confidence to boost market shares overnight. Now, Lip-Bu Tan was actually a Malaysian-born executive. He grew up in Singapore, which you mentioned, where he attended Nanyang University and studied physics. Now, he, of course, later studied, he got a master's in nuclear engineering, gave up his studies for a doctorate in that field, and left for the University of San Francisco, where he got an MBA. And after which, he joined Cadence board in 2004 and became the co-CEO 4 years later, eventually taking the sole position of that role in 2009. So he's been running the company for more than a decade before moving to the position of a chairman, which he occupied until 2023. And along with its rival Synopsys, Cadence dominates the market for computer-aided design that is used to create semiconductors. So you see the link here. You see that they're fundamentally needed in terms of what is required of chips and the manufacturing of chips today. Now, their software and services undoubtedly has become more and more important. Engineers use their products to create blueprints for the arrangement of tens of billions of transistors and connecting wires. And we've got Intel chairman Frank Yeary also saying that Tan could likely leverage his experience reinventing Cadence. And he, in fact, drove cultural transformation centered on customer-centric innovation. So if you look at his track record, Cadence has more than doubled its revenue, expanded operating margins, and delivered a stock price appreciation of more than 3,200%. That being said, it seems like at least Intel is in for a good trajectory. This is something that's worth noting if you're looking into playing into the chip field or the AI space as of now.
Definitely a step in the right direction. But there is a lot of work, and you point out how Intel has made a few missteps, in fact, missing out on the whole AI boom, and they've got a lot of catching up to do. Worth noting, Lip-Bu Tan has said, like you pointed out, that he will go down the same path to stick with that controversial plan to operate foundries to make chips for others. That was something that Pat Gelsinger was trying to do as well.
Yeah.
So they are pretty much going down the same road. He hasn't really given any clear signals that he will chart a new direction. So even though he said he's going to learn from past mistakes, it's worth remembering when Pat Gelsinger came on board, he was also seen as a bit of a savior of sorts. So he was from Intel, then went to VMware, and people were expecting him to save the company.
Yeah.
Now we are in the same situation where you have Lip-Bu Tan expected to save the company. Hopefully he can pull it off.
Yeah, it remains to be seen how he fares, but we'll watch this story very closely as it develops. Verdict for today, I'm going to give it a warm, and that's probably in line with most consensus ratings that we're seeing as of the 14th of March, with TipRanks, Yahoo, and Barron's all giving it a hold rating. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I would give it pretty much a warm as well, because if you think about it, he is taking on the job at a much tougher time than Pat Gelsinger when he did come on board. So we've got much more headwind now.
All right, right now, you know that Intel was founded back in July 1968 by Robert Noyce and Gordon Moore, right? Now, did you know that the company's founders actually wanted to name the company Moore and Noyce, a combination of their last names? But what does it sound like to you?
More noise.
Yeah, that's what the employees, they were upset about. Like, it sounded like more noise.
It does.
So eventually, they switched the first parts of the words integrated electronics.
Okay.
And that's why the name Intel was born. What do you call a computer mouse that swears a lot?
A noisy mouse.
No, a cursor.
Okay, not bad.
All right, what's a computer's favorite beat?
I'm not sure.
An algorithm. Algorithm.
Oh, okay. It took me a while.
Okay, and that's all we have for Intel.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance. To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.